Hey everyone, welcome to this resume video. I'm excited about this one because we have a top recruiter with us and he's going to show you a resume format that almost nobody is using and why. He's going to explain why it's much better than the typical resume format that you're almost certainly using, and maybe you're not getting enough callbacks as you should. So here to share his secret and reveal his special resume recipe is Cody. Cody, thanks for doing this with us.
Sure. I've been recruiting since 2008. Started as a campus recruiter for a small company here in Dallas. Moved into staffing agencies with Aerotech, and then I got into tech with Google, and I never really looked back. And so I've recruited junior developers up to executives, and I've seen a lot of resumes, and everyone's kind of followed the safe path, but how people digest information has changed. It's small bites, it's fast. When I click on an article, I usually see a summary of the article and three bullet points at the top. We want to consume information faster, and my resume approach is definitely non-traditional, but it will answer the burning questions recruiters and hiring managers have quickly to get you more calls, more screens, more interviews. And that's the goal of a resume.
All right. Well, I think everyone watching is dying to see what this resume looks like. So yeah, let's crack on.
Let's do it. So, resumes really have one goal: answer questions the recruiter and hiring managers have quickly and effectively as possible. We don't want to search through details to find your years of experience, how long you've been a manager, the impact you've done, the types of tech you're working on. And at the top of your resume, it's the best real estate. So I have a non traditional way of doing this. I cut through all the fluff. I don't have a summary saying I'm a detailed oriented recruiter, blah, 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 blah. I cut to the chase. And that's what we want in a world full of distractions, and everyone is distracted. We want to answer questions quickly, effectively, and hopefully hiring managers and recruiters will make a decision within 30 seconds of just reading the top of your resume to call you or not. That's the goal. So I have my resume here. I removed my address. We don't need full addresses anymore. Please don't put your full address on a resume. Just location. A lot of recruiters are kind of accustomed to looking at resumes through LinkedIn. It's a visual platform. I highly recommend it. I work for LinkedIn, but I do recommend it because we can see your connections and impact and all that good stuff. But as you can see, my career summary just out of the gates: 15 years of experience in talent acquisition. Bam. You don't have to go through and count the years. When did I start? I started recruiting in 2008. You don't have to do math. Most recruiters didn't go and get a STEM degree. So the easier you can make it honest, the better. I break down the type of recruiting experience. Now, as a developer, you can break this down into front end experience or back end. I break down my management experience, the number of direct reports, 3 to 4 as a lead for 2 years, 20 ICs for 3 years, which is where I went bald actually, leading 20 people for 3 years. It was a lot of work. But we want to see this stuff breaking down quickly, efficiently. If the team size is a 300-person org and you've been managing that size of org for 5 years, just notate it quickly, because again, we want to answer those questions fast. Um, I put down how many years in executive recruiting I've done, which is not a lot. Over 15 odd years, only 3.5 years. I'm still technically a little green. So if you are, as a developer, maybe you've always done back end and you want to get into front end. I know that's not typically the case, but that might be the case. And you've been, engineering for 20 years, but you only have 2 years of front end. Just tell us up front, you may not be qualified. Um, but you're doing a service to yourself, and you're going to get the calls from people that want someone who has a lot of back end
Mm.
experience, a little exposure to front end, and is ready to try something new. So just put it all out there
Mm.
as easily and efficiently as possible to someone to read and to digest. I break up my impact a little bit differently from my career. Career is kind of just, this is how long I've been doing this, and I'm in these tech domains, and I have blah blah blah. Impact is where you want to say stuff like um, the amount of traffic to your app. Maybe you created an app that had a million downloads. I want to see that. I want to see the millions in revenue you saved from capacity planning for data centers. I want to see the big mountain moving things you've done in your career at the top. If you're junior and you don't have a lot of impactful things yet, that's okay. List something impactful from an internship, from your university experience, whatever it is. Just tell us the most impactful thing you've done to date.
So
Um,
like I love this because this resume is different from most that you see recommended, and I'm really seeing why it could work. And so I think it would be helpful. Maybe it's the first section is about answering, like you say, it's answering questions, answering the questions that they're going to have and their requirements they're looking for. And then the impact summary is more about like that's when you're trying to wow them. That's trying to when you're picking your like, golden achievements, the most shiny bits you have to show them, right?
That's exactly right. We want someone to make a decision and pick up the phone to call Cody or Tom just from reading this alone. Um, that's the ultimate goal, as
Yeah.
simple as that is. So, and yeah, and if they, as we scroll through into uh, the actual resume, we kind of start getting into the weeds. You kind of see how many hires I've made, the type of offers in the range of salary I've extended, some trainings I've done, applications I've used. This is where you can expound a bit more from the top section. Um, but the goal would be to just have someone pick up the phone and call you within a 30-second glance of your resume. I and again, I'm someone who I don't care how long your resume is. I don't care the format of your resume. I just want it to be uh, easy to read and understand and follow a similar tempo, if you will. You can see at LinkedIn and Cruise, the applications I used are very obvious. The amount of hires or recs I managed are pretty obvious. As a developer, you want to really clearly show the tech domains, uh, coding languages that you're proficient in. And I want to know what you worked on that helped the company generate revenue, generate traffic, whatever it is. You kept the site up as a site reliability engineer. I want to know that impact and I want to know it quickly. I want to know the two or three big things you did at that company, right? And again, mine's 3 pages. The person might get to the third page, they might not. Um, at the bottom, it's kind of no man's land. This is where I just put, my tech platforms, applications I've used, because resumes, again, they should be, think of them in terms of real estate, top being the best, but also in terms of search engine optimizations. So, if someone is looking for someone who has experience with Taleo, Greenhouse, and Avature as a recruiter, my LinkedIn and resume are going to ping at the top of those results if I have those applications sprinkled throughout my resume. So, as a developer, if I'm looking for a backend engineer with Python and you put in the last 5 jobs you've been working with Python, and at the bottom you're proficient in Python, your resume is going to pull up in my search. But
And
it
that
doesn't mean to go
is
ahead.
that for applicant tracking systems as well? Would that be the same principle, or is that slightly different?
It can. There are applicant tracking systems, some good, some bad, that have great search qualities. Some have horrible search qualities. More so, though, when someone's searching for resumes on LinkedIn, on
Okay.
a job board. But yeah, it definitely is applicable to ATSs.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I think making it visible for LinkedIn, we could probably do a whole nother video on that. Maybe we will one day. That's definitely a whole area worth exploring. Cool. Yeah, sorry, carry on, Cody. Where were we?
Yeah, no, I was just that's kind of the gist of it.
Mm.
Pure and simple. We want our resumes to answer questions quickly. Every job has specific requirements, from the basics down to very niche type skills. But the entire goal is not to say, wow, it's so pretty, the format's cool, it's got graphs on the resume, there are pictures there, wow, it's such a pretty resume. I just want my questions answered quickly,
Mm.
and I need to make a decision. Am I going to call Tom or not? That's it.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. Let's. Yeah, I think for people watching, the huge takeaway is that just by adding those two sections at the top that 90% of people don't have, you're kind of getting a head start on the rest, right? Because while for other people, the recruiters having to look through all their last work experience, you're picking out the best bits straight away, and they can see it in 10-15 seconds. They've got a pretty good idea of whether you are worth calling for the interview or not.
Yeah.
um,
Just put your cards on the table. And I will say, I do see a lot of, when we get into engineering managers, and I'll just make this one note, a lot of people conceal their level, and they'll put head of engineering, and they may not want to put their team size, which is fine. That's your prerogative. You can do that. For most big tech companies, as you go through the interview process, your level and the altitude at which you're flying as an engineering leader will be exposed. It'll come to light. So I recommend just what's your level, team size, put everything on the table, and that's it's going to yield you more offers and calls versus kind of concealing it.
okay. Yeah. Don't conceal. Put everything. Be upfront. I think is a takeaway there.
Yeah.
And great. Well, and also, like, I should point people to the first video we did where, yeah, you looked at a couple of resumes, and there's some good information there about how people can, like, when they are in the work experience section, how they can write about their impact. So yeah, I would recommend people check that out if they want to dive a bit deeper. Cool, Cody. That's really useful. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I hope so. You're very welcome.
Hello, I really hope you found that useful. If you did, you can like and subscribe, and why not come visit us at IGotAnOffer.com. There you can find more videos, useful frameworks, and question guides, all completely free. And you can also book expert feedback one-to-one with our coaches from Google, Meta, Amazon, etc. Thank you, and good luck with your interview.